será que grandes civilizações do passado se extinguiram da noite para o dia? Será que a nossa civilização tecnológica corre o mesmo risco? Por que as sociedades humanas têm tendências autodestrutivas e até praticam o genocídio? O escritor Jared Diamond se debruçou sobre esses problemas depois de explicar a história das civilizações no livro Armas, Germes e Aço. Em seu último livro, Colapso, ele se declara um otimista por um motivo simples: somos os únicos responsáveis por nossa autodestruição. Por isso, podemos mudar de comportamento e evitar a extinção. Nesta segunda parte da entrevista que deu ao Milênio, ele destaca 2 fatores que nos salvam da destruição: a arqueologia, ou seja, o conhecimento profundo das origens das sociedades humanas, do que deu certo e do que deu errado, e a televisão, que tornou a informação global e instantânea. Genocídios em Ruanda, Darfur, efeitos catastróficos do aquecimento da atmosfera, nada mais pode ser escondido. Aprendemos com os nossos erros e por isso podemos evitar o colapso.
You have 2 sons, the twin sons. How old are they?
22.
22. And also you have a lot of young students because you teach undergraduate classes, which for someone of your stature is not very common. So what are these young people asking you? What are they worried about?
What are they worried about? It's not that my students are worried. It's that they're interested in the same things that I'm interested in, the big questions. They're interested in why China developed this way and why Europe developed in another way. They're interested in, is Islam, is the Muslim religion really the conservative, homogeneous force that it's often represented as being, or is it different? And then also my students are curious to know how I got to be the way that I am.
How did you get to be who you are?
I was fortunate in that both of my parents were interested in music and science and languages. I was also fortunate in that I was born before there was television and before there were computers and before there were video games, so that to entertain myself I had to read books, and my sons and their friends are at a severe disadvantage for those reasons.
What are your sons interested in? Are your sons interested in the subjects that you work on?
Yeah, they're interested in. They're interested. One of my sons, for example, the one that you met, might become an environmental lawyer. Just as an example, when my sons were in the 7th grade of school, when they were about maybe 10 years old, one day they came home from school angry at me. What did I do wrong? And they said, Daddy, our teachers assigned your book in class, your book, and we haven't read your book, but we know it's a bad book. And then worse yet, our teachers have invited you to come to class. So I came to class to answer questions about my book, and you've never seen boys so embarrassed. They were red, they were turning, they were just felt so horrible that they were going to be embarrassed by their father making a fool of himself in front of them. And as the class went on, they gradually saw that their friends were interested in my book, and they began asking me questions, more questions. Eventually, by the end of the hour, my sons felt proud of me, and ever since, they've been really defensive about my book. When they hear somebody criticize it, they'll attack that person, and so they enjoy the stuff in my books now.
What is the kind of criticism that bothers you?
There is criticism, which I, in my unbiased way, consider invalid. Within the United States, there's criticism from what I would call racists or conservatives who say that I neglect the role of IQ in explaining the differences between different societies. There are good reasons, because I think that there have not been demonstrated differences in IQ between whole society. There's no evidence that Brazilians have a higher or lower IQ than do Americans. So I disagree with the complaints of racists. There are also radical liberals who say that Jared Diamond is too interested in why some people have defeated other people. The fact is that people have defeated other people and there have been enormous tragedies as a result. Why is it that Brazil speaks Portuguese today? Why is it not the case that the citizens of Portugal speak Arawak? it's worth understanding because the effects of those differences among people are still prevalent in the modern world. So, short answer, yes, there are people on the left and people on the right who don't like my ideas, but I think my ideas are right.
So in your books, you showed that the human species has this self-destructive side, things like genocide and the destruction of the environment. So let's talk about that.
Genocide. I grew up during World War II, and something that I and people born in my generation will never forget is the first photographs when the concentration camps were opened of the bulldozers pushing piles of dead bodies in black and white uniforms into the trenches. So we tend to think nowadays of genocide as being something uniquely modern. But in fact, when you study, when you learn about what New Guineans do to each other and what Amazonian Indians do to each other and what any people in the world does to any other people, unfortunately war is a large part of it. And often war involves genocide, the attempt to wipe out the other people. That's something that comes to us straight from chimpanzees. Chimpanzees also practice genocide. That's to say, one group of chimps may try to wipe out another group. But chimpanzees don't have weapons and they don't have practice and they don't have soldiers. So chimpanzee genocide is not nearly on the scale of human genocide.
You show in your book Collapse how several societies self-destructed by overexploiting the environment.
It's a risk that we run. Chimpanzees are not going to destroy their environment because chimpanzees don't have axes. They can't cut down trees. And they don't have shovels, and they can't shovel away the topsoil. But we humans have technology. We are much better hunters than chimpanzees are. And we have this technology that lets us cut down trees and catch fish and destroy the environment. So there are many societies, including the most advanced societies of the New World, the Maya society of the Yucatan Peninsula, and there was a society on the coast of Peru, the Moche, who ended up with environmental disaster. That's a risk that we humans have acquired because of our power.
One of the questions that you say that your students ask a lot is, how could they do that? What were they thinking? The man who cut the last tree on Easter Island, what was he thinking?
The Easter Islanders cut down every tree on their island, and yet this was a wood-dependent society without any metal tools. So you might think it's a really stupid thing to do, and my students asked me, what do you think the person who chopped the last tree on Easter Island said as he was doing it? I didn't know, so I asked my children to speculate. I asked my students to speculate. And one student said, perhaps that person said, never fear, technology will solve our problems by discovering a substitute for wood. And another student, who was probably a Republican, said, I am a fiscal conservative. I believe in property rights. This tree is my tree. I can do with it whatever I want, and don't let the chief or the president tell me. And still another student said, perhaps the person said, I am a logger, and you blankety-blank environmentalists care more about some lousy tree than you care about the jobs of us loggers. Your fears are exaggerated. You're tree-hugging, green, lily-livered environmental fearmongers. And I'm sure that over in the next valley, there are some more trees. So what we need is more research. It would be premature to have a ban on logging. Those are the guesses of my students. They're reasonable guesses.